Welcome to the channel, dear viewers. It's Wednesday today, and as always, I'm here to stir the pot, ask the tough questions, and give you the real story, as a journalist from the other side. Yes, the one who's never afraid to question the narrative. Now, let's dive into this truly horrific situation that's been unfolding. If you're not aware, we're finally starting to get the truth about the Southport murders. It's about time, isn't it? You might remember the outrage when Nigel Farage was condemned for daring to ask whether we were being told the full truth about these tragic events. Well, it turns out that Farage wasn't just playing a part in the media circus. He was right all along. You see, it's emerged that this monster, as I'll call him, was known to the authorities long before the horrific murders. He had been flagged 3 times by the Prevent program. 3 times. And yet, the powers that be kept quiet, withholding this vital information from the public. Why? What were they hoping to cover up? The murder of those 3 innocent girls shook the nation, and just 24 hours later, speculation about the identity of the suspect was already rampant. Farage, in his typically bold fashion, raised the question: was this man being monitored by the security services? The authorities refused to answer. It's as if they wanted to keep everything under wraps. This withholding of information led to wild online speculation, which ultimately escalated into riots. But when the public had every right to know, no answers were forthcoming. The police, the Prime Minister, and the Home Secretary, they all went silent. It's all starting to feel like a classic case of a cover-up, and it's only now, after all the damage has been done, that we're beginning to get the truth. Fast forward to today, and we're finally starting to get the full picture, albeit far too late. As it turns out, the murderer had been barred from returning to his old school a week before the attack. His father was reportedly pleading with a taxi driver not to take him to the school, and he was even wearing the same sweatshirt and mask that he would later use during the brutal killings. How did no one know about this? How could the authorities have let this slip through the cracks? In the bustling press room, the air was thick with tension as Prime Minister Keir Starmer faced a barrage of questions. Harry Cole, a seasoned journalist known for his biting commentary, leaned forward, his eyes sharp behind his glasses. "Prime Minister," Cole began, his voice cutting through the murmur of the room, "you've repeatedly stated this attack wasn't terror-related, when, in fact, it absolutely was. Why the secrecy?" Starmer, looking slightly uncomfortable under the spotlight, adjusted his tie before responding. "Well, Harry, the focus was on the extreme violence, not necessarily the label of terrorism. We had to consider the broader implications." Cole interrupted, his tone laced with sarcasm. "Oh, please, don't try to sugarcoat it, Prime Minister. The public's been kept in the dark, and they're bloody angry." Starmer sighed, his voice measured. "We were guided by legal advice to ensure the integrity of the investigation. It's not about misleading anyone, it's about ensuring justice." The room buzzed with discontent, but Cole wasn't done. "Justice? What about the right to know when our kids are at risk? You lot knew about the Prevent program, the warning signs, and yet, here we are." After the press conference, the atmosphere was still charged as Richard Tice, deputy leader of the Reform Party, took the stage. His voice carried a mix of frustration and defiance. "This government has been deliberately misleading the British public," Tice declared, his eyes scanning the crowd. "They knew about the terror links, but chose to keep it under wraps." "Why?" "Because it didn't fit their bloody narrative, that's why." A murmur of agreement rippled through the reporters. Tice continued, "They didn't want to admit their failures. We could have been told about the Prevent program, about the warning signs. Perhaps, just perhaps, this could have been avoided." He paused, letting his words sink in. "So, here we are, with the truth trickling out in pieces, but too late to prevent the damage that's already been done. The public is raging, and they have every right to be. This was a massive failure by the authorities, and the anger isn't going away anytime soon." Back in my studio, I couldn't help but feel the weight of this revelation. The government's handling of the situation was, frankly, a right shambles. I looked into the camera, my voice echoing the frustration many felt. Now, what do you lot think about all this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It helps us keep uncovering the truth, one story at a time. Cheers. The screen faded to black, leaving viewers to ponder the implications of a government that might choose narrative over truth. It was a stark reminder of why we, as journalists, must keep digging, keep questioning, because if we don't, who will?